All right. All right, this is my commute home. I did a commute a couple weeks ago on the Kawasaki LTD440 in the morning when it was 28 degrees. I did a morning commute and I found a pretty fun ride home. It's not like fantabulously fun, but it's okay. I don't take it every day because I want to get home, and this is kind of not really on, it's kind of on the way home, but it's a little bit of a roundabout way home. It's not even a long way home. It just doesn't really take me, like I have to go out of my way to connect to another route home. So it's not exactly a very direct route, and it's not exactly an incredibly fun road, although it is curvy. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that curvy doesn't happen in mid-Michigan. When we get to the curves, I'll talk a little bit more about them, but right now I'd like to talk about the LTD440. The reason that I'm not on it, and I'm a little disappointed, is because I sold it. That was the intent of that bike, to get it and fix it up and clean it up and sell it. So it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Somebody else is enjoying it right now. So I don't have that one to ride. And the reason I'm a little disappointed is because I did really like to ride it. It really was a nice bike to ride. I had fun on it. I enjoyed it. But now it's gone, and now I'm on the Harley. I guess it's just I'm stuck on the Harley. This is not a bad bike to ride at all. It's a touring bike, but I really don't mind commuting on it. I think it's a nice riding bike, and I'm comfortable enough on it to tour or to commute on it, so I'm okay with that. This road, of course, I've got a road there and a road on the other side that this parallels at this point, and so I could take either one of those and actually be a more direct route. And I hate this corner. It comes out at an angle on this very busy road, and we're gonna punch it after this semi. It's terrible on this thing because usually I make a right turn there, and it's really difficult to roll up to that corner because of the approach and everything. Don't really like it. Anyways, the starter clutch went out on this last week and a half ago, and I ordered one, got it replaced, got it fixed. It's been working really good, so this bike's been running really good. I did check the mileage this morning, and I was a little disappointed it was at 36 miles to the gallon. Last year I was pulling 42 on the commute. See what I mean? I've said it before, 6th gear on these back roads like this, and this thing just keeps climbing. It's really hard to keep at 60. So it's 36 miles to the gallon. I was not impressed with that. I generally last year was getting 42 on my commute. I don't know exactly what was going on. I did have one day where I was hot on the throttle all the way here, so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. I wouldn't think one day would have done that. Maybe it did. A lot of residences in this area. It's a residential type area. I really wish he had old motorcycles sitting there as opposed to lawnmowers and lawn tractors. Him and I would have something in common then. This is a good area to find good junk in somebody's yard. It's just that type of area. There are some really nice houses, and It's a really good community. We're pretty close community out in this area. But they don't call it Lee Tucky for nothing. It's Lee Township in Midland County, and they kind of have a reputation as being a little bit rednecky, hillbilly. Phew. And I think they accept that. I think if you told them, oh, you live in Lee Tucky, I think probably 99% of the people that live in that township would be like, yeah, I live in Lee Tucky. They've accepted and embraced where they are and where they have chosen to live. And there's nothing wrong with that. Ooh, yucky, dead deer, gross. Probably stanky. I didn't even smell it. I closed my nose when I drove by. I don't like smelling the dead deer. If I can see it, I'll try to avoid smelling it. Sometimes you smell it and you don't see them. That's one of the great things. That looked like a barn dominium. That's one of the great things about riding a motorcycle is you get to experience your sense of smell out here. So yeah, there was a great big barn back there, and cars pulled into it and stuff. And then it looked like there was living quarters off the edge of it, which ultimately is my ultimate dream, is to have a barn dominium. I think that'd be really cool. I'd probably sleep next to my motorcycle. So this road isn't incredibly exciting, especially not until you get past that light. It's a lot like everything else, which is straight and flat and boring. You know what? It's supposed to be really warm next week. I might take my Pine River Road down to St. Louis next week. I love that road. I love, it's one of those close roads that you can ride and have fun on. And it's, once we get up here into these curves, I'll explain it. That is Pine River Elementary. Around the corner is Bullet Creek Middle School, and then down the road from there is Bullet Creek High School. This is the Chippewa Nature Center. And in this facility out here to the right, they have a lot of walking trails and stuff. It's an education center, so they have things like an old log cabin and turn of the century stuff like that, and it's really neat to go out there and see all that stuff. But then you've got these nature trails that people can just come and walk, and it's a pretty nice area. A lot of people, like, they're retired, they come out here, they walk every morning. I don't know why in the world you'd want to do that, but I guess that's some people think. So this is the very first curve that we run into today, and it's a natural flowing curve. The difference between this section of road and something like Pine River is that Pine River, it follows the river, and it is a very natural flow to it. Whereas this one is more of, you're getting from point to point, and they put some curves in the middle of it. Again, out here is Chippewa Nature Center. So they're putting some curves in the middle of the points between. So it doesn't flow as naturally as like Pine River. Pine River, you just get that flow to it. And I don't know how else to explain it. It's fun riding curves, and it's fun riding these. These will sneak up on you. The first time I came down through here, yeah, they snuck up on me pretty good. And I teach motorcycle safety class, and I always tell my students, if you don't know the road and it tells you to go into a curve at 25 miles an hour, go into it at 25 miles an hour. It's better to enter a curve too slow and accelerate out of it. And then what do you do when you've hit it too fast? Push harder. Get that bike to lean. But see, it's not really a natural flow. It's a 90, it's a 90, it's a 90. That's not a natural flow. We had some big sweepers in here, then it would be natural. It's just not there. And then where it comes out is just like, I don't want to be on this road. So I don't ride it very much, but I wanted to ride it to show that there are some curves in this section of the north of mid-Michigan. They're few and far between. Some ball fields. There's a river right down there. There's a frisbee golf thing. You can go out there and smoke dope. I think that's what those frisbee golf guys do. That's what I've heard they do. It's legal in Michigan, so you don't have to go play frisbee golf to smoke dope in Michigan. I don't know, I guess it's a sport kind of thing, but you come up into these ball fields and it depends on what is going on when you come up here, but there can be a lot of traffic, and then it comes out onto this very busy road in Poseyville, and if I take a left, I go right into downtown Midland, which is, if you watched my morning commute video, you saw me come through there. But then on this one, I'm going to hang a right, and I'm going to go down to Gordonville Road, which if I had gone down to Gordonville Road to begin with, instead of taking Chippewa Valley Road, or Chippewa River Road, I would already be at that point. So like I said, this just isn't a natural road for me. I don't necessarily like the curves. I don't necessarily like the curves on it. I don't think they're natural. They don't flow. They're not incredibly fun. It's a different route, and I get to lean on the motorcycle a little bit, so it's kind of nice for that. But it dumps me out right into the middle of in between two different routes that I would have taken. So the curves aren't natural, and the flow home isn't natural. You know what? I'm going to take another road, though. I've decided just now that I'm going to take a little bit different route home. I got a little time today. Don't need to worry about it. I like the truck. I don't like the color. Ginger brown? Ugh. Molasses brown, I guess. It is. We did this section of the road recently. It's kind of nice. It's out washing it. Get out and ride that thing, son. Guess I shouldn't say anything. There are days when I'm out washing it and should be riding it. I wonder, there was a bike underneath that tarp. I wonder what kind of bike it was. It looked like a sport bike based on the muffler, but then it also looked like it was sitting like at the back end of a car dolly. Yeah, I was really hoping to do this on the Kawasaki. What I did was, it just was starting really hard, and like it was really doggy off of idle. And I knew it was a carb issue, and I went through the carbs this spring, and I just fight with carburetors. They're a thorn in my side. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take them down to Mike. Mike's the carburetor king. Magic Mike, the carburetor king. He always does a real good job for me, and I get them back, and he's cleaned them his best. He's cleaned them out, and they run good. And so I just took it down there, and was like, you know what? Go do what you can with it. And about that time, somebody contacted me from the video, actually, that I had posted of my commute. And I was like, yeah, okay, it's closer to you right now anyway, so So he came and met me at Mike's and bought it. So I never even got it back from Mike. I never even got to go ride it again. So, but we started it. The guy started it and started right away, and it was idling pretty good. So felt like, I think he really wanted it, because he didn't even take it for a test drive or nothing. He just started it up and was like, I'll take it. And he gave me my asking price, which I really didn't figure I was going to get. I kind of priced it up on the very high end of what I figured I would get. So I think maybe I need to adjust my pricing policy on motorcycles. See, at that intersection back there, when I got behind that guy with the lawnmower in his car, if that's Gordonville, and if I had come down and took Gordonville as opposed to Chippewa River Road, I would already be a lot further ahead on my route home. But it's a nice day and I'm on a motorcycle, so I'm just going to keep riding. In fact, I'm taking a road that, which one should I take? There's two kind of curvy roads here. I think I know which one I'm going to take. There's one, it's actually called River Road, and if you ride a bike, you know that if it says River Road, it's usually a pretty good road to take. If it has river in its name and it follows the river, then it's usually a pretty good road. That's what I look for. But then on the other side of the river, the road kind of moves down through there, and it's like I said, it's a natural flow. There's not, you know, fantastic great curves in it, but it's not flat straight like this is. There's a little bit of elevation. There are some curves, nothing big or major or drastic, but it's at least a little bit scenic. If I take this river road that's coming up, it's a little more residential and a little less curvy on this end of it. I do like riding this river road all the way down, though. It goes all the way down past where I would have to turn today, so I'm not going to go that far today. So, but it is kind of fun on the other end of it, coming up through there. And I've done a ride video on that. I think I did it last spring, either on the GL or on this. See that move? That was letting that guy making a left turn know that I'm here. I like riding over here, but when I see cars making a left turn, I move over so they can see me, and a lot of times that movement is what they see as opposed to just the bike. So, I don't know, just riding tips with Jeff. Oh, great. I'm gonna do this today because I can. Mainly because I didn't want to ride behind that rendezvous. Normally I wouldn't do something like that, but that light is just awful, and I didn't really want to ride behind the rendezvous down there. See, we've already got a big sweeper right at the beginning of this one. This is actually called Saginaw Road. Boarded that all up just recently. Kind of an interesting old building. I don't know what it was originally. It looked like maybe some kind of garage service center or something. If you look out to the right, if I can hold it long enough, there is actually a floodplain out there from the river, and the river does flood. Every couple of years there gets an excess amount of rain, and of course then, what was it, 2 years ago the dam broke. 2 dams upriver broke, and we had quite the flood. You see the floodplain, the river's down there in between, and that was all underwater, and the water was almost up to the road in this point. And there are some points up here on this road that were underwater. The water got that high. There's a dip in the road up here. Yep, somebody's getting a new roof. There's a geodesic dome house. There's one up the road about 2 miles that I used to live in. When I first moved to this area, we rented it. They're neat, but I wouldn't want to own one. They're just weird. It was weird trying to place furniture in it. It had a huge, huge living room, but then it all went upstairs, and so, you know, we had the TV in the living room, and the rooms upstairs, it was just like they were right there in the living room. There was really very little privacy for the rooms upstairs, and like if you were in the living room, you had to be quiet or it was disturbing. It was just weird. It was kind of cool, but also the one that we lived in had some structural issues. It was like the roof itself was pushing the flat sides of the walls out. And then when they instead of fixing it, they just drywalled. And I mean, the drywall looked good, but it was all like the joints and the corners were crooked and slanted, and I was like, they need to fix this. We were renting, but we talked about buying it. I was like, I don't really want this house. There's a lot of work needed done on that section of it, structural type work. So I was like, nah. So that was Saginaw Road on the north side of, I do believe that's the Tittabawassee River. I believe that's exactly what it's called. A little bit of curve, a little bit of elevation change. Pretty, not an intense road, but in this area, if you can see less than a quarter mile, then it's a good road. That means there's a curve in it, or a hill. It just doesn't happen around here. I am going to go out and hop on the expressway here. I don't know if I'm going to leave that in the video or not, because it's expressway and it's incredibly boring. And there really isn't anything other than that to get home. I could go up and around the corner and go up Carter, but I don't really want to. I kind of want to blast up the expressway today. I gotta deal with this bus. Is he coming across? Or is he getting on the expressway as well? Alright, cool. Cool. Yeah, that dome house that I lived in is right back there. Again, this is expressway, just long, boring, straight stretch. This bike handles it so well, though. I mean, my Speedo says I'm doing 78 right now, and it's just not even running 3 grand. That big V-twin just is made for this, and I could do this all day. And you get out on expressway sections and set the cruise, and off you go. It really, touring, as far as touring and riding on expressway type roads, it's great. I like this bike everywhere, but this is what it's made for, is hopping on an interstate and traveling. My mileage for the summer is 770. That's what I'm looking at, and I think it's 43,770 because I've not even hit 1,000 miles this year yet, and it's May 5th, and I'm not even at 1,000 miles. Last year when I picked this bike up, I already had 1,200 on April 12th. I already had 1,200 miles on my GL. So the month of March was much kinder last year. I could go up and take US 10 over, but I don't really like doing that. I don't like riding on expressway, especially this time of day. It's 4:30. It starts getting busy, and then coming off the expressway there's 2 stop signs at the overpass, and so you gotta stop at one, make a left turn, stop at the next one, and I don't really want to. I avoid that if I can. Sometimes it's fun just, you know, you're blasting down the expressway and just want to get home. Today, we'll take the scenic route from here. Sometimes I turn here, sometimes I turn at the next one, depends on traffic. I think I always try to turn on this one. I don't know why. It's better road down here than what it is up on Midland Road. They were putting a big building in there 2 years ago before COVID hit. They were working pretty hard on it, and then COVID hit, and they put the kibosh to that. Canceled that plan, I think. I don't know. I don't know anybody that actually works it now to be able to figure it out. I guess I don't really care. It's just they were working on it. It looked like they were going to put a building up, and then they quit. This is US 10. It runs from Bay City. It picks up at 75, I-75, and runs east to west, and it runs all the way over to Clare. Kind of connects all those little towns in a way. I don't think it goes right to Clare. I don't remember where it ends up over there. I don't go over there that way very much. Old habits die hard. I reached up with my left thumb to turn right, and on this thing, controls are on the opposite handlebars. You want to turn left, your turn signal's on the left. You want to turn right, turn signal's on the right. And I got enough miles on this, I should know that. Every once in a while, that old vintage Japanese muscle memory pops back up. They really need to redo this road. They redid Wheeler, which is a couple miles north, and it runs the same direction. It runs parallel to this, but it's, was it 2 or 3 miles up there? They redid that, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. They really need to redo this one. They've done some work on roads around town, but I've been watching a couple different moto vloggers, and it's not something that I want to get into and try to do all the time. But the thing that I like that they do is that they pick a topic, and then as they're riding, that's what they talk about. I just kind of talk about whatever. I mean, they'll mention, oh, this or oh, that, you know. But overall, it really is just more of them with a topic to talk about, or something to kind of focus what they're talking about. And I would kind of like to do that, but again, I don't think it's something I want to do all the time. I don't want to just do moto vlogs because I do so much else. I do like doing the ride videos, and honestly, they do pretty well on my channel. So I like to do them when I can and try to make them interesting. So like on a commute ride like this, I think I'm going to try to pick a topic. I was thinking that I was going to talk more about the Kawasaki on that ride, and I ended up talking a little bit more about the road and my route. So back to the Kawasaki, I guess. I think it's a great bike, and if I will definitely, it is on my list of if you ever find another one bikes. I've had a few, that's one of them. It isn't that particular bike was so fantastic, although it was a fantastic bike, but I think it's that model. I really like that model. Kawasaki did a really good job with that one. It derived from the KZ400, and at some point they bumped it up to the 440, and it was a nice bike, and it rode really well. It worked on this commute wonderfully, like I knew it would. So again, if I ever find another one. Now, as far as like doing a build off of one of them, I don't think I would like to do a cafe, because on that one the seat frame drops down and then comes back up, and it's less straight. It would be a lot more framework that I would have to do to make it level across there to get that cafe stance. And so I don't think I would do a cafe on that one. Mama's home. Mowed the yard last night. Looks pretty dang good, don't it? I guess I need to come out and weed whip. There's stopper dodge. It's leaking coolant out of the water pump, which is annoying. So I have to fix that. Oh, the neighbor, she bought herself a 3-wheeled bicycle. She can go ride with the kids. Well, there it is. That is my commute home, and that is the curviest route that I can take on the way home. There's a road that I like to take that is a little bit longer route. So on the really nice days, I take that road because just because it's a longer ride. It ends up being an extra 10-15 minutes, but that is it for today. So if you're out riding anywhere, ride safe.